guy who's also up from the States. It's a very American heavy show tonight. Nobody's watching Guantanamo Bay. Let them out. It's I'm only joking. Leave them alone. They're all sound. It's I apologise. I actually bought a head for the mic stand, and it just looks. We're not the cheapest club ever. It looks really, really bad. But I apologise. Usually just made of gold. Okay. It's but we have two acts in the first half. The first guy is a guy called John Gilligan. He's over in the States, guys. He's actually just been a tour. He's doing a tour all over Europe. I think Dublin's one of the last stops before he heads off to back to America. So guys, he's literally been touring the world. He's like, I don't know, maybe he's a drug dealer or a serial killer. And for anybody from Ireland, his name is John Gilligan, but he did not kill Robbie Deere. If you want to see that John Gilligan, he is down the road in the International doing a set tonight. Okay? So guys, for the first time in the second half, please give a big warm Irish welcome. Start clapping out the back of the room. Come on, pick it up. John Gilligan.
Do me a favor and put your hands together for our bartender and column and your guys for just being out here tonight. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Like Colin said, my name is John Gilligan. I'm the good one for the United States. I am the representative for white people west of the Rocky Mountains. You've already seen my counterpart, Dwayne, earlier. This is my certificate of completion. I had to take an 80-hour class in how to be a white guy. This is called a pinpoint button-down Oxford shirt. If I tuck it in like this, I'm qualified to talk about retirement accounts and things along those lines. Now, they've sent me over here from the States to discuss certain things with you, and usually I present it as a PowerPoint. As you see, it's not going to happen. I tried to print up the information from the government. I don't know if you guys know that the United States government is not very happy about handing out information. This is what happens when you try and print their stuff up. I had to take some notes, so if you guys can please bear with me, I'm going to get to some things. Number one, Americans are stupid. In the year 2017, we're all going to get color-coded dots on our forehead based on our IQs. Now, because we're so stupid, we had to dumb it down. Do you guys remember the 7 colors of the rainbow? Yeah. I'll save you the embarrassment. Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. The red, orange, yellow, those are your enemies. Do not ask those people for fucking directions. They will be the lowest of the low. And let me explain this to you. The lowest one, the R, 0 through 69, extremely low, includes the medical terms idiot, imbecile, and moron. Those are actual medical terms. 69 to 79, they had to remove a word from it. It's called borderline blank, because young students got so upset at the word retard. Listen, first of all, retards don't know that they're retards. You're not insulting them. I'll get to the rest of this. We go through it. You have low average, average, high average, superior, people like us who are here. Then there's they call themselves very superior. They have to get up very early tomorrow and draw faces in latte foam. They're not here to get insulted by us. I don't like touching the microphone. It's just very... Now, as the representative for white people, this lady's like, I didn't vote for him. And the other lady's like, shut up, he's cute, let him talk. I look like 50 Shades of Grey. Speaking of Google, if you had a blind date with Google and I walked in the room, you'd be like, that must be him right there. He's a fucking guy. The way I got appointed is a long story, and I don't want to be that fucking jerk who says, hey, long story short, because in America that's an excuse to add 9 minutes to your story. Has anybody ever known it to be true when somebody says long story short that the story ended quickly? Only my Nana. My Nana, that's what we call my grandmother. Her name was Powers, the whiskey people. Nana Powers. She got sick. When she got older, she got Alzheimer's, and then she got Parkinson's, and not the good one, not amusement Parkinson's. She got the one that makes you tremble and say crazy shit. And she would look at me and say things like, John Patrick, I went to the doctor today, long story short, fucking Jew. So she was actually very good at that previous statement. Now, I don't hesitate to make fun of old Nana, Because she told my relatives and all of her friends that I was a hitman for the Irish Mafia in New York City. In my defense, an indictment is not a conviction. A gun is just a tool, like a wrench or a hammer. Any of those three things will help get you your money back on a construction site. Now, I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran of the Cold War. Put your foot on that for a second so I can just pull that closer. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm a veteran of the Cold War. I served in the big one. Panama. I can hardly keep a straight face in this room. I was wounded twice during that. I have to take medicine to overcome the horrors of this. The first one, I suffered serious third-degree burns in an incident snorkeling off the coast of St. Thomas. You know, America, we might have been at war with them back there in the 80s. It's fucking nutty. The second time, I got hit by a car in a crosswalk. Now, as a man, I always thought to myself growing up, if anybody was ever coming at me with a car, I would put out my hand and then just Bruce Lee over the roof and get up and kick your fucking ass. Part of that story is correct. You do put out your hand, but what happens is you're supposed to make a noise like a 4-year-old girl who just dropped her ice cream. And I did not disappoint anybody. I put out my hand. Does anybody like science? Because at this point you become a fulcrum and a lever. I went 15 feet in the air and 25 feet in another direction and landed on my head. Thank God, or I could have been hurt. All right, we talked about the IQ thing. I've been in Europe for 5 weeks now. Now, the first stop was here in Dublin just to meet up with some family. And mistakenly, I booked a room at the Towers Hotel. Did I say that right? People who know Marion Road are like, fuck, what's wrong with you, gang? It's run by the government. Now, I walk into the room, and the only source of air conditioning is a window that opens onto Dublin Bay. There are mosquitoes smashed on the walls and the ceiling all over the room from previous tenants. There is a stain between the two beds that I pray was hot chocolate that was spilled. There is another stain on the armoire that contains a television that's this fucking deep, like it's 1979, that I'm convinced was urine because that's what it smelled like. How many Irish people are in the room tonight? Clap for me, because I can't see out there. You're too fucking polite. That's all I can say. I don't want to be rude. We're known for being rude in America, but I went down to complain to the manager and I told him that story, and you know what his response was? Ah, grand, brilliant. So you're saying you've got enough light to see everything in the room then? What the fuck, man? Nothing got cleaned. Then I went to London to perform. There's a young girl, comes up after I was on stage, and the guy's got that very proper British accent, and he brings her up, and she says, what's all this then with this old geezer thinks he's a Pink Panther? I was like, okay. Not such a bad comparison. The Pink Panther was a classy thief. He would steal giant diamonds and leave a rose in his glove. As opposed to like an American, what do you call it, tweaker? Somebody who's on crystal meth who just robs your house and shits on your kid's teddy bear? Then I went to Amsterdam, which is like Las Vegas became a heroin addict. Yo, I will suck your dick in a window behind a cathedral. And in Amsterdam, they're like, oh, it's an old church. Like, it doesn't matter that it's a church, that there's hookers in the window back there sucking dick. It's an old church, doesn't count. I went and bought marijuana. I bought hash, and I bought, they don't sell magic mushrooms, they call it magic truffles. I tripped my balls off, smoked my ass off, and walked around with bright red eyes because fucking Visine is illegal. You need a prescription. I was like, are you out of your fucking mind? Why I can do all of those drugs, but I can't get Visine so my mom doesn't know that I'm doing them? Videotape. Now, hi, Mom. The reason I needed Visine was because the last person who asked to borrow my Visine did not follow the proper protocol. The protocol is you hold your eye open with 2 fingers and you drop it in your eye from a distance. No, this guy stuck it in his fucking eye clitoris and then he irrigated his eye. And if you're wondering why I call it an eye clitoris, if you've ever been allergic to cats or something, you start rubbing it and you're like, you feel like you're gonna come, and then usually somebody ruins it like a dude, right, ladies? Like, yeah, who's your cat? Fuck! from there to Germany. Some Germans are here. Ja, das ist guten. They have a wonderful train system. I loved it. You take your suitcase and you put it in a rack and you travel at 300 kilometers an hour from city to city. I loved it. In the United States, when you go to travel somewhere, it's by plane. You know, like Ryanair here. We're worse in America. They take your suitcase and you're lucky if it shows up at the other end. And when you get it, your toothbrush is snapped off at the head and you have a pair of socks that leak. You're like, how is that even fucking possible? Now, I get to Germany and they put me in what they call a comedy condominium. There's a guy named Alexander. His parents are on the ground floor, the comedians are in the middle floor, and he lives on the top floor. They said I was a lousy house guest. I don't know if you guys can see my shoes. I had a I'll try and get them up there for you. In America, we call those, is he gay or is he European shoes? Because you know we like our bright white sneakers. I'm clomping around up there, drunk as shit, and their quote was, I can't say it in German, maybe one of these people can translate it, he was louder than a Pollock in a crawl space. I like that one too. Now, I'm out drinking with Alexander, and he's got a very thick accent. He's trying his best to be a good American host, or a host to an American. I'm drunk, and as an arrogant American, I'm not listening closely, trying to pick up on everything that he says, and he looks at me and he says, you seem like the kind of guy who would enjoy trying to kill a bitch. I was like, fuck yeah. What do you say we get a Russian hooker and I choke her while I fuck her? You can film it. He says, kill a bitch is a liquor made of berries and 90 spices. I'm a comedian. That's why I said that, Alex. Come on. What's wrong with you, buddy? A little nutty. Now, we have some apologies to make as white people from the United States. Only from the past 50 years, though. I'd like to apologize for karaoke. The Asians have taken a lot of the pressure off us, though, huh? Ravi's a battlefield. I would like to apologize for plus-size spandex. Nobody ever should need to see that. I would like to apologize for the fact that synchronized swimming still makes it onto television. You ever cut across 4 lanes of traffic to get home and watch synchronized swimming? No, but it's still there. I would like... Telemarketing, you know, that was an American invention. Call them during dinner, they'll be home, fuck it. I would like to apologize for Jews in America who think it's alright to drive German luxury cars. I would like to apologize for Fanny Pack Guy. I also call him 82% shirt man. He's usually a really fat guy whose shirt, no matter how hard he tries, is only going to cover about 82% of that belly, which actually folds over his sweatpants and his fanny pack. He's got his fat wife who has a holiday sweater, because that's the only way anybody's ever going to compliment Marge. Marge, those reindeer look fucking great, you cow. Any black people in the room? Because somebody owes me an apology for Milli Vanilli's fucking Grammy. You're welcome for yoga pants, by the way. Now, you guys watch television? I was recently on an episode of Modern Family. Do you guys like that show? If you watch television, and it'll show you, it'll say Modern Family, Jay takes the family to Las Vegas. That's the episode I was on. When I was in Germany, I saw an episode of Seinfeld. You guys know the one, Soup Nazi? Yeah. It said, on Seinfeld, it said, typical Jew tries to ruin businessman's life. Now, I would like you guys to just do me a favor. I want to get a little bit of a round of applause. My wife of 21 years is in the back of the room filming this for me. Now I am going to give you a direct quote from my wife. Things happen to you that never happen to normal people. I have a scar on the side of my head. Are there any people in the room with a scar on the side of the head? Just say woo. See, not that uncommon. Did you also get yours when you were attacked by a peregrine falcon? See what I mean? Not only did I get attacked by a peregrine falcon, little known fact, fastest animal on the planet, it was in somebody's fucking kitchen. My friend Mark is 5'9". He's the tallest one in his house, and that's very important later on in the story. His father, Richard, only had one eye. He was an artist, and he did all of the postage stamps for all of the African countries. And they paid him in ivory, so he had huge tusks and all kinds of beautiful stuff around the house. Plus they gave him money, but he was able to smuggle out ivory. So we called him One-Eyed Dick the Bone Smuggler. That's two homosexual references all at once. They had a house by the beach, but they also owned a lot next door, and they kept pigs and chickens and goats and all kinds of shit that they would sell to people to eat. And we walk in the house and Mark says, duck. So I look down. I don't want to step on a duck puppy. I don't want to be that dick. And I get drilled in the side of the head and lose a chunk of flesh. I said, what the fuck was that? He said, I'm 5'9". There's a peregrine falcon in here. Anything over 5'9", and it's in his airspace. Oh, yeah? He says, I said duck. I said, motherfucker, if you'd have said falcon, I probably would have. I paralyzed myself from the waist down. In 2003, stealing boulders to landscape my front yard. It's called karma. Google that one, bitches. I had a heart attack. 6 people click like when I posted it on Facebook. I don't find that fucking polite. Now, let me just get through this real quick. There are some sex terms that I have to introduce to you guys. Have you ever heard of certain words for the first time, and then all of a sudden you hear them a couple of more times during the week? Like the Eiffel Tower. I'll try and church this up for you guys. An Eiffel Tower is when a lady is on all fours like she's praying towards Mecca, and there's a man at each end trying to make her like watertight. But for some gay reason in the middle, they just reach out and link hands. Like, dude, I would totally helmet bang you, but this fucking idiot chick is in the way of all of this. That's the Eiffel Tower. I just have a few. I'm allowed to give you the names, but not the explanations. You have the Albuquerque faucet and the Amish helipad. They're kind of self-explanatory. You have a Biloxi pedicure and a rusty hat rack. That's for the LGBT community. Sorry, I have a gay brother. I'm a very big supporter of LGBT. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. Unless this is a very Catholic room, and then all those dirty cocksuckers are going to hell. Now, I did this routine once recently, and somebody said, oh, that part about the sex terms, that was brilliant. And I said, that's kind of a harsh word for me. I was 40 years old before I remembered to bring a hand towel to the sink so I didn't drip water on the fucking floor. I'm not brilliant. I recently bought a toothbrush that has a battery in it, and it vibrates. It replaced every other toothbrush I've ever used. Fucking fantastic. Gillette makes a razor with 5 blades. It vibrates. Replaced every other razor I've ever had. That explains what's going on in my wife's underwear drawer. Anyway, my name is John Gilligan.